Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of the Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm as always your host here, the Ohio Patriot, and for today's episode, we are going to talk about exactly why the Ohio state government must be abolished and replaced in the coming months after last night's primary, where two Democrats advanced with one claiming to be Republican, which he is not. And both these people are also mass murderers. They literally should both be for president right now for genociding anywhere from tens of thousands of Ohioans to probably over 100,000 Ohioans at this point, if not more, just because of them pushing various agendas. When Amy Acton, the Democrat nominee, was the unelected health director, she specifically killed who knows how many unborn children in the state through abortion clinics by claiming they were essential businesses. Vivek Ramaswamy, on the other hand, who is the rhino in the Republican primary last night that won, is basically has taken money. It's come out in the last couple of days now that he's taken money from Moderna in the last X amount of time now is what it is, after they were pushing the COVID death shots. And yes, he 100% is involved with killing Ohioans through that alone is what it is. He might have unknowingly done it, but he still took over $2 billion to do it is what it is, dude. And a lot of that shit that happens is what it is there. Not to mention he was also part of the advisory board for the COVID lockdowns, and he was one of like 4 or 5 people that was advising DeWine and Acton, which honestly, all 7 of these people need to be on death row right now for what they've done to this state and this country. And they're not the only ones for that matter. There needs to be a lot of other people too, for that matter, that have all committed crimes against humanity, specifically going to New York State. There is what it is. You have Kathy Hunkel and Andrew Cuomo, who were involved in mass murder of millions in New York City. There is what it was, in New York State specifically as well. During the 2020 lockdowns, you had the then governor of Pennsylvania, as well as several other people. The person that Biden picked as health director, that was that trans motherfucker over there in PA. They mass murdered a shitload of people, and it just goes across the board right now is what it is. But this is what I'm saying. Like, how are we allowing any of these people in 2026 to be allowed in any position of political power in this country at all, and not be arrested out of office, not be arrested out of the running for office, etc. there, and be charged with crimes of community crimes with this man? Because it's just insane to allow this shit to go on and allow these people to think that they can get away with literal mass genocide is what it is. You know? So, but anyway, we're going to do a breakdown of everything that happened last night, all the different primary races and stuff like that, and really like the absolutely low voter turnout that happened last night, which I was looking into it from previous election cycles, specifically back to the governor's race of 2018, where there was no incumbent. And it basically, I thought it was low voter turnout this year, but it turns out it was basically, seems like it's on par, which is kind of crazy to think about, because what's sad to me is you have this state right now that has roughly, I believe it's almost 12 million people in it. And of those 12 million or so, like 8 million are registered voters. And the fact that you couldn't have any candidate yesterday even crack 1 million in a primary race is just insane, dude. And the thing is, like, even going to Acton and stuff like that, dude, she was running unopposed and still had 700,000 something people voting for her yesterday is what it was. Whereas Vivek couldn't even break 700K is what it is, dude. Like, that just shows what a fucking clown this guy is. He couldn't even break 675,000 votes is what it is. And people think this dude is an eligible candidate. Like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? So, now granted, that being said, the general election could be different, because looking again at past general elections and stuff like that, if you go by these numbers, basically what will happen is it'll equate to about 4.5 million people will come out and vote in November, one way or the other is what it is there. The thing I think is very disgusting, though, and this is something I've seen with at least 1 or 2 people on Twitter last night, which was you've had them openly being like, oh, Ohio is a red state General Assembly-wise, right? Why don't we just give the governorship to the Democrat Party, because it's not going to do anything anyway. It's like, dude, have you been paying attention to Ohio politics for the past 10 to 20 years, honestly? Because I actually have, bro. And I'll tell you right now, when you look back into stuff that's happened in the State House, specifically it was the current Speaker of the House is Matt Huffman. I believe the previous one was Jason Stevens. So this would have been 2 years ago that this happened. It would have been 2024. Or no, sorry, it would have been 3 years ago. It would have been 2023, what it would have been. So it would have been November 23, or sorry, not November, no, not November. It would have been January of 2023 when they started their General Assembly at that point then. But yeah, you had Jason Stevens, like all throughout, like, it was after the November election cycle and into like December and stuff like that. He was cutting backdoor deals with the Democrat Party, specifically the then House Minority Leader, Alice Russo, who herself should be in prison right now for accepting bribes from main action in 2021, but that was never investigated, unfortunately. And what's even crazier is, I bring up her specifically because her crazy ass is now the literal Democrat frontrunner to become Secretary of State in the state now is what it is. And it's like, how the fuck she's even in the race either for that matter. It's just absolutely disgusting is what it is. But anywho, so basically what you end up with is you have Stevens cutting this deal with Russo back in 2023, and then going down the line, there's what it was, and basically having all these party line Democrats, like lockstep is what it is, to vote for him for Speaker of the House. And then you had Derek Merrin, who should have been the Speaker of the House at the time, who got fucked over, even though you had basically like at least half the caucus that were backing Derek Merrin is what it is there for the Republican Party. And that's when you have, excuse me. That's when you had the whole Blue 22 thing come out back in like 2023, 2024 election cycle. And that's when you had people like, there was a couple Tortilla people in there too as well. I forget the guy's last name was. His first name was Mike, but he was one of the people that did the stuff with Stevens. And his whole thing was like, oh, well, I'm doing this because it's a way for me to get my Second Amendment legislation advanced and stuff like that. And basically, suck the party line dick, essentially, is what it is there. Instead of being like, no, I'm going to be defiant and back this guy over here is what it is, which is very ironic given that everything that's happened last night is what it was. You had Derek Merrin, who tried to run in 2024 against Marcy Kaptur and ended up losing. I don't know if he lost the general or if it was just something where he ended up losing in maybe the primary is what it was or something. But he actually won the primary last night, what it was though, which is funny because he was facing off against Josh Williams, who has actually backed our account on, or has blocked our account on Twitter there for some retarded ass reason. I think it's probably because we called his ass out a couple years ago when he was backing Democrat gun control is what it was. And yeah, it's funny that the guy who was backing Democrat gun control during the 2023-2024 General Assembly and most recently here in 2025-2026 was actively trying to push forward hate crime legislation, or not hate crime legislation, hate speech legislation to basically make words be considered like crimes at this point, which is fucking ridiculous entirely because it completely is a violation of the First Amendment, U.S. Constitution, what it is there. And Josh just knows freaking sack of shit is what it is there. But yeah, I called his ass out last night on Facebook on that one though. So I don't know if he ever get back to me or not. But yeah, he lost handily is what it was. Derek got like almost 50% of the vote there is what it was. Josh got like 20-something on the vote, so it makes it even more funny then. So yeah, you can see funny things happen there is what it is. But anyway, so going on to talk about what I was going to talk about though, what it is here. And discussing, going back full circle to the whole thing with the General Assembly is what it is there. You can't always trust that the Republican Party has your best interests is what it is there. Because when people don't realize is there are so many different factions of Republicans in the State House right now. Like, yeah, they might make up like 60 plus people in the State House right now is what it is. But the thing is, and they're also like 20, I think it's 23 or 25, something like that right now in the State Senate currently. The thing of it is, though, even with those majorities they have there, when you have multiple factions of these people, when you have basically what Ohio Governors calls the Columbus Cartel, which I'll start referring to that as well at this point, honestly, you have people like Matt Huffman, and then their proxies like Gary Click, who barely remained in power last night. He came that cunt hair away, literally, from losing that primary, and had a couple hundred more people showed up to that race and voted for the other guy. That other dude would be a state rep come 2027. Unfortunately, a couple hundred people didn't show up, and Gary Click was able to just squeak the fuck out is what it is there. Which, honestly, if I was the other dude, I'd contest that fucking race because I'm pretty sure there's a mechanism in our state right now where it's either if it's 1,000 or less votes, or if it's 500 or less votes, you can it's like it automatically triggers something. But I think in this case it was like 560 votes or something like that. But I'd still contest the shit out of that one, dude, because it was so close. Like, you can't sit there and tell me that there's not some fuckery afoot there. So it is, especially when you have the voting machines that we all know can be hacked. We all know have been hacked in the past for people. And when you can actually have them be hacked by the establishment that are all, bought and paid for by these Indian billionaires from overseas and stuff like that. Dude, like, enough is enough of this shit. Like, it's time to look into that completely is what it is there, and go back and do the whole paper ballot thing is what it is, which is exactly why Marcel lost last night too, for that matter, because he got fucked over as well in that Secretary of State's race is what it is, because he was all about the paper ballot stuff, and then of course he ended up losing because, shocker, he had so many people using fucking voting machines is what it is there. So I wouldn't be surprised in the least that there's a lot of corruption going on right now in this state, honestly. Especially when you got the Daily Wire now doing their thing. Like I said the other day, you had people at Daily Wire now doing an investigation here into various Medicaid fraud and stuff like that. So yeah, would it surprise me if Ohio had crazy amounts of voter fraud there in the establishment parties is what it is? Fuck no, dude. Because again, why would you not want to keep your establishment pieces of shit in power is what it is there, and fuck over outsiders and stuff like that? Of course you're going to do that stuff. Of course you're going to manipulate the votes. Of course you're going to manipulate the outcomes of things is what it is there. And it's exactly why we need to abolish this fucking state government, dude, because it's all corrupt, dude. Like, when you have something like 65 to 85% of the current state government on both major parties being corrupt as shit, either being involved in pay-to-play scandals, straight up bribery, embezzlement, all kinds of Medicaid, Medicare fraud, etc. there, creating fake daycare businesses like Ismail Muhammad's done in the past, etc. there, dude. It's like, enough is enough of this shit, dude. It's like, no. Kick every single one of these motherfuckers, all 132 of their asses out, as well as everybody in the gubernatorial line, and we start fresh. We Article 1, Section 2 these fuckers out of power, and we have a completely brand new government of brand new people. Nobody that's in the current races, nobody that's in the current anything like that, dude. It's going to be a whole new thing, and that would be the best way to do it right now, because that would disqualify Vivek and Acton both from this governor's race, for being the corrupt pieces of shit they are is what it is. Because they all know what these fuckers are going to do when they get into power, dude. I mean, they've already admitted it. You already had Action a couple times basically talking about grabbing guns and doing all kinds of shady shit like Spurnbringer and Cheryl have done in Virginia and New Jersey, respectively, is what it is. Ever they stole fucking office there is what it is. And it's like, people just want to hand this crazy bitch the fucking guy. Are you fucking insane? Are you fucking psychotic? Seriously, people. Like, you're just nuts at that point. And Vivek is no better. He's openly talked about doing H-1B visa stuff into the state right now. It's like, we've already had 2 rhinos in a row that fucked us over by importing third world trash in the state. You had John Casey's under Obama import a bunch of Somali terrorists, which is exactly what Ismail Muhammad and Marina Abdullah are even in the State House right now is what it is. And then you had Mike DeWine under Biden's cheater ass import a bunch of fucking Haitians who have embezzled a shitload of money from us, who've stolen a bunch of money from us. And I think the reason that they're doing this stuff, whether it be Kasich or DeWine, etc., is because they're taking kickbacks from it, dude. Like, you can't sit here and tell me that a state of 8 to 12 million people has the exact same budget of a state like Florida that is at least twice our size right now. Like, there's got to be at least $55 billion in the past 2 years has been embezzled some places with this, dude. And we've already seen this shit when you have Daily Wire investigations doing the Medicaid fraud stuff, when you have the same building having like $60 million put to it or whatever it is there, dude. It's like, yeah, there's a shitload of shit going on. There's a lot of fucking fuckery with this, dude. We need to fix this shit, honestly. And it's not going to get fixed overnight. It's going to get fixed by removing the fucking problems, which is everybody that's currently in power. Which, again, I'm not saying it's every single fucking person that's in power, but it's so many that are in power right now. Specifically the establishment that keep doing chamber jumping and stuff like that, where they are turned out of one side of the General Assembly, whether it be the State House or the State Senate, and then they'll jump to the other side of the fucking General Assembly. And it's like, no, get the fuck out, dude. And that's the thing. At least 30 people right now of the 132 that make up The state house and the state senate right now in Ohio are people who should have been kicked out of office anywhere from 2 to 8 years ago. But they weren't because they literally broke term limits to chamber jump to the other side of the General Assembly is what it is there. And they should all be kicked the fuck out, dude. Especially Matt Hoffman's ass is what it is. So, anyway. But moving on to what we're going to talk about today is what it is here with the election results and stuff like that. I want to point this out before I do that. That's what it is. Which my understanding is from what I was looking at on Twitter last night. I think I shared this as one of the things on our network page, what it is there. So like a repost basically. It was somebody claiming to have worked with the Casey Putsch, Kim Georgeton ticket. And we're basically discussing about how Kim herself was actually the architect of everything, it sounds like, because she was not only the lieutenant governor pick for Casey, she was also apparently the campaign manager is what it was there. And I guess she had other people underneath her too as well, for that matter, that were all helping out and stuff. And it was her and like this other small group of folks or whatever. I don't know how many it is at this point. It could be 5, it could be 50, honestly. But anyway, the group that she's been doing stuff with is what it is. My understanding is they've been trying to find a viable candidate to try to contest like some of these races as America First candidates is what it is there. And that's why they back Casey is what it is. And they were basically using him as a test case to see if they actually could take down power at like lesser levels than it is there. Like whether it be at a state house level or whether it be at like, you know, a mayoralship or some city council seats or, you know, township trustees or county commissioners or something like that's what it is there. And they realized last night with how much of the vote they were able to get in this race, which is almost 18% of the vote, honestly, which is crazy to think about, right? Because you have Vivek that potentially spent like $20 million in this primary, or damn close to that anyway, from my understanding. People are saying now. I'm not sure how much it was, honestly. It could have been only 5 or 6 million, but who the hell knows? We know he had at least 20 million in the coffers. Those were the ones he could have blown through. So let's just say it was 20 million compared to Casey, who only had $120,000 to spend in this race over the last 5 to 6 months is what it is. He's been part of it. And in that 5 to 6 months, this dude was able to take almost 1/5 of the vote away as a grassroots candidate. That speaks volumes, dude. That does speak volumes, honestly. And people need to wake up and realize that. Like, if you have enough time and you can gather enough funds and stuff like that, or if we even just put money caps on these races, which is what we should be doing anyway at this point, honestly, and I've said this before many times, honestly, dude, like, that is the only thing I've ever heard Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez talk about that I actually agreed with, which it was, I think it was her first term in Congress or whatever back in like 2018 time period where it was there. So it was in 2019, 2020 there. I think that's when she talked about the money cap thing. Obviously, since then, she's done a bunch of embezzlement and insider trading and stuff like that, obviously. But, you know, and I'm not so sure it wasn't somebody, you know, giving her a piece of paper to say that shit, honestly, because she would just be the mouthpiece of what it is there. But either way, it's like the only intelligent thing I've ever heard her actually mention. And she was right about that, honestly, dude. And it's the truth at this point, honestly. Like, why the hell in 2026 do we not have money caps across the board in every single political race in this country, dude? Whether it be from a state rep seat to a governorship to the presidency. It's fucking ridiculous to not have that stuff, dude. Because when you don't have these things, what you have then is you have these billionaires that are trying to literally buy the fucking seats and spend crazy, crazy amounts of money that is never going to create real jobs in this state. It's going to literally, or in this country for that matter, it's just going to be like, oh, here's like this temporary like 6-week job or something like that that's going to go away as soon as this campaign is done. Whereas you could have invested that money and made real headway and made real jobs in this state or this country through various manufacturing, et cetera, there, and giving people at least a couple of years of work is what it is, dude, for a decent amount of pay is what it is then. So, yeah, there definitely should be money caps across the board right now, and I would say, honestly, for governorships, it should be $1 million. If you can't do a campaign from start to finish, all the way through a primary, all the way through a general election, et cetera, there, on $1 million, you have no business being in office. That's what it is, dude. And it's the same way across the board with presidencies and stuff like that, dude. If you are such a financial, illiterate, dumb motherfucker that you cannot figure out how to do ad buys and everything else like that is what it is there, and, you know, cut costs and stuff like that, then guess what? You shouldn't be in the race to begin with this there. And it honestly shouldn't even take $1 million. It should be a few 100,000 maximum is what it is, dude. Because that's the thing. When you have them talking about Vivek and them talking about Acton and stuff like that, and the combined amount of money these people are going to put in this race now is going to be like 30 to 40 million fucking dollars, dude. That's insane. That is psychotic. To take a governorship that only pays a few 100,000 a year. Like, it blows my mind, honestly, dude, that we even allow this shit to go on. Because, again, right there, it shows exactly why this country is like $37 trillion plus in debt right now. That's what it is, dude. It's because you have no financial literacy among any of these people, because all they know how to do is spend other people's money, is what it is, and tax shit out of everybody is what it is there. So, yeah, it's just disgusting in general, though, dude. But anyway, so moving on and talking about the actual races themselves, what it is. This is something I do want to point out quite a bit, actually, as well, is going back to the low voter turnout yesterday. Like is there a low voter turnout anyway? I would have to look back into previous election cycles and see if I could find like the actual numbers for state house races and stuff like that. What it is there, to see if it was on par with the yesterday or not there. But basically, what I figured out of is the 99 state house seats right now that were for primaries yesterday. Only 21 of them, being 12 Republicans and 9 Democrats, were able to break over 10,000 votes for a single candidate, which is fucking nuts when you think about it, dude, because when you have most of the major cities being where these Democrat strongholds are and most of these Democrat seats are is what it is there, dude, you're talking about places like Columbus, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Dayton, Toledo, Akron, etc. there that have, millions of people in them. And yet they couldn't even break 10,000 votes for a primary. Like, that's just pathetic, honestly, dude. And really, honestly, I think really what it shows is people don't give a fuck about primaries, what it is, unfortunately. So. Okay, there it goes. Sorry, another come up from out there. So anyway, going back to the to this whole thing here. So we got all the races here. We got the first one, which is obviously disable that thing. So we got governor, lieutenant governor race. You got Acton and Pepper running unopposed. We got 762,457 votes. This is obviously, just to be clear, this is not the official totals. This is just what the unofficial totals are from yesterday, is what it is. That need to be certified in the next, I think it's 2 or 3 weeks now or something like that by the Secretary of State. And then you had, going down to this race, which is the one that actually mattered, you had Casey Puch, Timothy Georgeton get 143,257 votes, or 17.53% of the votes. So 17.5% of the vote on 120K. So that's basically, you might as well say that was less than $1 a vote on that one, dude. Because they spent all 120,000 of that campaign funds and got 142,000 votes out of it. That means they got 20,000 more than they had the money for, is what it was. Meanwhile, you got Vivek, who potentially spent $20 million and only ended up with 673,902 votes, or just under 83% of the votes, what it is there, for a total of 817,000 people. Then you had the Libertarian dude, Don Kissick, get 8,612 or 24 votes, and his write-in opponent get 162 votes, as it was there. So, and that's the thing. I would say, honestly, with Vivek and Acton, just, let's flip this in on its head and give the Libertarian person the go. But the thing is, I looked into this Don guy already last night and then this morning again. This guy is such a fucking Democrat. It's not even funny, dude. And actually, I would honestly say in this case, he's actually more of a radical Democrat at this point, because that's basically what the Libertarian Party is. It was like Democrat light, but now it's basically become its own monster of just psychotic insanity, is what I call it at this point. And yeah, this dude's anti-ICE, pro-gay and trans bullshit and everything else like that. And it's no, fuck you too, dude. You're part of the problem as well. Get the fuck out of here as well. So that's what I'm saying. It needs to be complete abolishment and replacement at this point is what it is then. Completely branding people is what it would be then. But anyway. So going on to other races here. We got the Attorney General race. Ferber ran unopposed, got almost 700,000 votes. Which is what I think is interesting too, by the way. Like, it makes you wonder how many people voted for governor and didn't bother voting for any of the races, what it is, because you would think, like, when you got the 800,000 something for the governor's primary is what it is there, but then the same ticket, you got the AG's race only having 695,000 some change there is what it is. It's pretty wild. And then you had this John guy beat Elliot Forhan, 442,799 to 258,289, which I'm just going to say it like it is, dude. The 258,289 voted for fucking psychotic lunatic Elliot Forhan need to be stripped of voting rights forever is what it is, dude. This guy was kicked out of the General Assembly a few years back now because he was such a fucking lunatic piece of shit that he was trying to attack his own party members is what it is, dude. And yet you're going to vote for him to be the Attorney General of the state when his entire campaign, by the way, was built on attacking Trump and trying to basically railroad Trump and impeach Trump at like a state level is what it is there, dude. And it's like, bro, like, again, why do we not have automatic qualifications in 2026 is what it is. Because that alone should disqualify Forhan from the entire race is what it is then. So, anyway. If I find the clip, I know there's a clip out there of Forhan being a nut job because this was like 6-8 months ago, so it was that it came out then, even a little bit longer than that. But yeah, I believe I shared on our X page back then, but I can't remember now offhand. If I can find it again in this couple of days, though, I'll do it for Freedom Friday, so it is this week. So, but anyway. So yeah, we had that race happen there. So if you judge it by that one, potentially you could actually see the Democrats win on that one by like 6,000 votes. So it is. Now, granted, that's not going to be what will actually happen there. You'll have at least probably a couple million more people jump into the actual election itself come November, and you potentially would see Keith Ferber become AG is what it is then. So going down to the auditor's race, you had LaRoche running unopposed, getting 720,000 something odd votes there. You had his opponent get 680,000 something odd votes there, and you had a libertarian person get 400 something votes for their write-in candidacy. So, which again, going back to the whole chamber jumping bullshit, this is basically what LaRoche, Ferber, and a bunch of other people are trying to do right now. They're trying to play musical chairs in our state General Assembly because LaRoche is current Secretary of State. You have Ferber being, I believe it's either auditor or treasurer right now. And you have them just trying to jump each other's seats and stuff like that and do different stuff. There's what it is. Then you had Spruce who's trying to jump in the Secretary of State's office there, which unfortunately he got 541,000 something odd change of the votes compared to Marcel, who only got 229,000 something, or 20, almost 30% of the vote actually what it was there. So that's, again, going back to I'm not sure how much Marcel spent in this race, dude, but yeah, like looking at that right there, dude, like when you can take almost 30% of the vote from an actual establishment rhino who's been in power for like decades in the state, like people are fucking pissed and they're showing that, rightfully so, dude, is what it is. The only other thing that does bother me on this one, going back, like I said earlier, Alison Russo, is that she was able to get the nominee there with just under 500K votes compared to this Brian guy who only got 234,000 votes. So it is there. But even that, like, look at that right there, dude. You got, again, the establishment rhino or establishment Democrat who has a known fucking name to them and has been in our General Assembly for at least the past decade or so is what it is now, comparing to just a random unknown dude who, I don't know if this Brian guy is like a city councilman or something, or if he's anything right now is what it is. He might be something else, though, is what it is, like a township trustee or something like that. I'm not sure offhand. I haven't looked into the guy further as what it would be then. But yeah, when you can have basically an unknown or pretty much unknown is what it is there, come in and take out like 200,000 plus votes or 32% of the fucking race, like people hate the establishment is what it is, dude. And they're showing it in these primaries is what it is there. So anyway. Continuing on down the line, got the treasurer's race. This is actually the only good one that happened here, which is basically had Jay Edwards actually did get the win there with 410,000 and some change votes to Christina Rogner, who got 363,000 and some changes what it is. So, yeah, hopefully jail get things done then is what it is, because he was talking about with the Hot Gunners a few weeks ago now, and I think I posted this on our secondary channel, if I'm not mistaken, the interview there, where he basically discussed how he would actually look into the fraud, waste, and abuse and stuff going on in the state if he became treasurer then, which hopefully he can do it. And it seems like even just based on these results right here, you had 100,000 vote difference there. So even if it was just 100,000 vote difference, he would, if he got every single one of those votes, then he would just take it from the Shane Walsh guy, or not Shane Walsh, Seth Walsh dude is what it is. So anyway, we're not even going to worry about Congress or the, actually I guess we'll talk about the state Supreme Court what it is there. So you had running unopposed, this crazy Democrat bitch getting 667,000 votes. You had the guy who was running for re-election get 671,000 votes. He just would be there in that general election what it is then with that amount. Incumbent Jennifer Brenner got 682,000, and the 734,000 was combined for different people there. You had Andrew King, who I think was probably the best choice here. He ended up with 200,000 votes and some change. Unfortunately, he lost out to Carolyn O'Donnell, who got 236,000 and some change what it is. And there people got 147,000 and 132,000 respectively what it is there. Which this is, unfortunately, this is the kind of shit that happens right here when you have the establishment party not bothering to back any of the candidates at all is what it is. And this is the one, this is actually one of the few races right here where you had no Ohio GOP backing this race at all is what it is, dude. Which again, this is what it should be. This is how primaries should end up looking like is what it is, dude, because you actually would have people being like, oh, okay, we're not going to, have endorsements from the fucking party is what it is there. We'll just have this be an actual race between, 4 people is what it is there. And this is what happens then. You have people choosing their own winners what it is then. So anyway, but yeah, going off to the State House here is what it is. This just shows again what I'm talking about when we're talking about different state congressional districts in major cities, because I believe it's like 1 to 5 is all Democrats or whatever here is what it is, or Democrat strongholds, and like Columbus is what it is there. And then I believe I want to say it's like the first 20 or something like that are a mix of Columbus, Cincinnati, Cleveland, etc. There's what it is. But yeah, when you have an incumbent in Dontavius Jarrells who can't even break 9,000 votes in this primary, that's just pathetic, dude. When you only had 11,000 something people vote, there's what it is entirely. That's just sad. And then going to District 2, you had roughly about 9,000-ish people. There's what it is. You had this Charity Morton King, who I'm assuming is a woman, get 6,100 votes. There's what it is. You had Michael Cole get 3,100 votes. You had a Libertarian writing get 6 votes. So, moving on to the Somali terrorist district, you had piece of shit Ismail Muhammad running unopposed get 8,400 votes, which again, you would think, in a district that you represent from Somalia and claiming to be Ohio, and you can't even break 9,000 votes, bro. That's pathetic. And then the write-in candidate in this one only got 161 votes, is what it is, for the Republican Party. Which again, hopefully this Bernadette Kennedy Kent can actually equate to a whole bunch of people in that district coming out in the fall and easily getting it done there. Then we got District 4, which didn't even exist at all, which is basically just Democrat stronghold completely is what it is. You had no Republican primary at all in that one. And you had this appointed woman, I thought you pronounced something with the name now. Beryl, I think that's what it is. Beryl Brown. I'm not sure I pronounced her last name. Pachininico, something like that. I don't know. I know she's part of the Jewish caucus, though. So, because she's basically come out and been like, oh, I'm such a proud Jewish woman and stuff like that. And it's like, nobody gives a fuck, woman. Seriously. But yeah, she was one of the few that actually broke over 10K. She got almost 11,000 votes in that race. So, And then District 5, the incumbent Democrat got 7,700 votes unopposed. The writing Republican, Richard Cole, got 340 votes. We got District 6. Christine Cockley, who I believe is the incumbent, got 6,000 votes. The Republican, who was running unopposed, got 2,600 some votes, is what it is. And the Libertarian got 5 votes as a writing candidate. District 7, that was between 3 different people. We ended up having the woman who is the current mayor of Arlington get the most at 6,100 votes. And she'll basically be running there in District 7 against this William Mercer guy who got 2,900 and some change. There's what it is. Going again to the Democrat strongholds there, you got Anita Samani, who is a known baby killer, and she's also an anti-gun statue. I believe she's a Bloomberg puppet, if I'm not mistaken. She ended up breaking over 10K yesterday in her district. And then you have the writing candidate, this Kelly Hunter woman, get 414 votes, which hopefully it'll equate to several thousand, if nothing else. That would actually be sweet to see her just beat Anita in the general election. That's what it is. Going back again to Somali terrorist districts in the state right now, you got Marina Abduli, can't even break 7,500 votes is what it is there, dude. And you have the Republican get 2,300 votes in that district. You had Libertarian writing get 4 votes. And then, yeah, there's a bunch of other ones here is what it is. Just different people that'll be in the General Assembly there is what it is. Unfortunately, Brian Stewart was able to beat Patty Hamilton by about 2,000 votes. There's what it is in that District 12 primary, which sucks because it would have been nice to see Patty in there because she actually is a pro-2A person. Brian Stewart has basically proved he's a run-a-sack at this point. And just a party line rhino for Matt Huffman is what it is there. Going down the line again, District 13 with Tristan Rader, who I believe this guy, I want to say he would be, is he a first term or is he a second term now? I can't remember if this is his second term or his first term that he's in office now. I believe this guy was the one that was the teacher guy who was trying to push. He was like the weirdest anti-gun bills in the last General Assembly that it is there because it wasn't even really anti-gun bills. It was basically like giving like people incentives to buy like gun safes and gun locks and shit like that as tax credits and stuff like that instead of just being like, hey, here's a wild fucking idea, dude. How about you just hand out a bunch of gun locks to people, you jackass? Like, seriously, like, take your own state congressional pay there, buddy, and buy a bunch of gun locks for people and hand them to them is what it is then. And you can clearly tell this Democrat guy knows nothing about the Second Amendment or even how to buy a gun is what it is there, dude. Because if he actually did go to a gun shop and buy a gun, he'd realize when they pop in the box there, it's like, hey, here's your little gun lock for your fucking gun in most cases. Now, granted, I can't remember if they actually do give gun locks with shotguns or not. I'm trying to remember now. I've never bought a full rifle, so I couldn't tell you on that one. But I don't remember if they do with shotguns or not. I think maybe they do, actually. I know with handguns they do, though. Because they'll give you the stupid little, it's like the slip-through kind of gun lock is what it is there, which, by the way, no sane person that is a gun owner is going to have their gun locked up like that, bro. Because the entire point of having a gun and buying a gun is for self-defense. And you can't really be using it for self-defense in the middle of the fucking night if you have somebody breaking into your home and you're fiddling around with keys to unlock the fucking gun lock and then throw a loaded mag into it. Or God forbid, you have your mag that's unloaded in a safe someplace in the house and then you got to put the bullets in it too for that matter. Like, yeah, you're just dead at that point. Like, and we've seen this stuff in the past, dude. Like, people have actually talked about that kind of craziness, dude, is what it is. To, like, push, like, safe storage laws and shit like that. And it's like, no, you're just insane is what it is, bro. But like I said, I believe I actually did talk about this last year, which was, or was it last? No, I'm sorry, not last year. It would have been 2 years ago. I talked about this. So it would have been 2024 when that legislation was being pushed forward is what it is there. Because there was good pro-2A legislation then as well. And I said at that point, I was like, hey, like, I don't know if I even called Rader's office too for that matter. And I was like, hey, dude, like, if you actually want to do something that betters Ohio, like, just combine your stupid bill with these other bills is what it is. And you can do the thing across the board and actually make it better for everybody at that point. Because essentially what he was doing was he was giving people incentives to like buy like various storage stuff. But the thing was, at the time, you were also having a bill go through that was to down the amount of taxation being allowed, or I think it was actually to stop taxation at all on Second Amendment accessories and stuff like that. That's what it is there. So it's like, yeah, it could have just been all one big bill is what it is. Then you could have actually, that's like the one time in history in the state, honestly, where you could have had these like moderate anti-gun Democrats actually working with pro 2A people in the Republican Party, there is what it is, and passing legislation that both could have agreed upon is what it is then. And it would have benefited everybody at that point, honestly, dude, because it would have not only allowed for, you know, the quote unquote safety measures some of these Democrats want what it is there, dude, but it would have allowed for Ohioans to just have a better piece of legislation across the board and not be taxed to death on a literal constitutional right, what it is, man. So, like, it's just kind of silly, honestly, on that one. But I do believe that Tristan Reeder used to be a teacher. I believe that's who I'm thinking it is right now. Oh no, I'm so retarded now. It was not Tristan Reeder. It was Sean Brennan, is the guy I've been talking about this entire time. That was the teacher guy. Yeah, it was Brennan. Reeder was a different guy that got in the General Assembly last year, is what it was then. So yeah, so it would have been Sean Brennan I was thinking of. That would have been either a second or third term, is what it is then. But yeah, so Sean Brennan is the dude we're actually discussing this whole time for the last like 10 minutes or so. So I completely blanked on that. Again, this is what happens when you have like 30 to 40 new people coming to a General Assembly in the past couple of years and you don't remember who the fuck all Mars what it is there, man. So you just get confused with what it is then. But yeah, so it's actually Sean Brennan is the guy we're talking about. So we'll talk about him in a couple minutes here because I think he was a different district is what it is then. But yeah, this Raider guy was he was just like a party line Dem, that's what it is then. So okay, yeah, it's the next one. That's what it was. So yeah, so Tristan Reeder was 13. Sean Brennan was 14 is what it is there. So this is the guy we're actually talking about, was the dude in District 14 is what it is. Who got 8,400 votes yesterday is what it is there. And then the write-in Republican got 170. So, but yeah, it was Sean Brennan that we were actually talking about this whole time, was the ex-teacher guy that became a state rep now is what it is. And that was the dude that was actually pushing this the like safe storage stuff and like giving like tax credits and stuff like that for it is, instead of just being like, hey, we just don't fucking charge people when I'm in a lakeport to begin with, or any taxation to begin with, you jackass. Like, I don't want no fucking credit, you moron. I want the actual money taken off immediately is what it is there, dude. So yeah, it's just fucking, it's like typical Democrat bullshit. That's what it is, dude. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you this thing and then immediately take it away after the fact is what it is, and then so, but yeah. It was, like I said, it was Brennan, not Reeder, that we were talking about the situation. So, my mistake. Again, this is what happens when I'm literally on like 3.5 hours of sleep right now. Is what it is, dude. For the past like 2 days now. But anyway, continuing on down the line, you got Chris Glassburn in District 15, not even breaking 8,300 votes. There's what it is. Daniel Conroy got 4,000-ish votes. There's what it is. The Republican side. Same thing in District 16. You had Sophia. Not sure I pronounced her last name there. It sounds like either Latino or something else for that matter. Got just over 4,000 votes there. In the Republican side, you had this Scott guy who I believe would be a brand new person. Just over 11,000 votes on the Democrat side. There's what it is. And I guarantee District 16, I think it's either the heart of Columbus, the heart of Cincinnati, or the heart of Cleveland is what it would be then. Would be where that district sits there is what it is. So it's one of the 3 big C cities is what it is there. So it makes sense why you'd have 11,000 something people voting for this dude then. But it's crazy to think about that, right? Because when you're talking about a congressional district that has like several 100,000, if not 1 million people in it there, and this dude couldn't even break 12K, like that's fucking nuts is what it is, dude. Like it really is, honestly. So, but like I said, you had 9 Democrat seats break over the 10,000 mark for a single candidate. You had 12 Republicans break that 10K mark. A single candidate, there's what it is. So, anyway, continuing on down the line, talk about a few other races here that were which this actually had almost 20,000 votes in this one, but then again, it was also 4 people running for it in District 18 there. And this is one of the few that actually had a 10,000 plus person there, where you had Davida Russell, I think that's how you pronounce the person's name, get 14,000 something votes there. Yet everybody else, the closest person to her was this Gabe Crenshaw guy getting 3,500 votes. Samuel, however you pronounce that person's last name, 1,000 something votes, and then this Peter Huffman guy get just over 700 votes is what it is there. So that's just a dominant thing. Like it makes me wonder how much money this DeVita woman put into the race is what it is though to get that 14K votes is what it is, dude, because that does seem pretty dominant, honestly. Like I'm wondering if honestly she was like some kind of a city council woman or something like that's what it is there, or like a township trustee or something for Franklin County or something, or potentially even maybe a county commissioner for Franklin County is what it is there. Because that would make logical sense. That's what it is. But yeah, it's just crazy, crazy stuff, man. So anyway, continuing on down, you got District 19 that had over 14,000 votes in it, and nobody broke over 10K in this one either. And what's even funnier is I'm not sure if this person is Arabic or if they would have been Indian, was a writing candidate, got 2 votes, which is probably themselves and their wives, is my guess. So it'd be the husband and wife voting for the person there, is what it is. But then, yeah, the actual person that won, this Nicole, I'm not sure if I pronounce that one's last name, got just under 6,000 votes, is what it is there. So. And then we have District 20, the primary there between all these Democrats. You had Eugene Miller end up winning with 4,100 and some odd votes. There's what it is. Going back down further, we actually had, again, the incumbent, this Eric dude, who going back to Elliott 400, I believe was this Eric guy that beat him in the last general election to take the 21st district, see what it is there, where he broke over 10K with 12,000 some odd votes. There's what it is, which I think, honestly, I believe this district might be in the heart of Columbus. There's what it is. Or one of the major cities anyway. And that's exactly why you had like 12,000 some odd votes in there is what it is there. So. And then the write-in, this Tina woman got 122 votes currently is what it is there. Moving on to District 22, which is a complete Democrat hellhole. And should not even be a district at all in the state. You had Darnell's piece of shit, black supremacist ass. Anti-gunner sack of crap, not even able to break 10K. He was able to get 9,500 and some votes. So, and then District 23, you had Daniel Troy just get under 9,000 votes there in another Democrat stronghold. Which this actually shows that District 23 won't be able to flip those what it is, because you had Daniel Troy get just under 9,000 votes, and you had the Republican, this Julie woman, get 7,500 and some change. There's what it is. So if we can equate that to, potentially. Yeah, a few million people into this race come the general election, dude. You might see District 23 finally flip from Democrat to Republican, which would be pretty sweet. So, anyway, moving on, another Democrat, actually 2 more Democrats shouldn't exist all in the state house, which is District 24, that piece of shit, anti-gunner, Danny Isaacson, Isaacson, or pronounce fucking stupid ass name. Got just under 6,500 votes at 6,493. You had a fellow Bloomberg paid puppet, which, by the way, I want to point something out. Danny's ass is definitely a Students Demand Action jerk off who shouldn't even be in the state house as it is. Meanwhile, Cecil Thomas is a bought and paid for Bloomberg puppet from Must Be an Action is what it is there. He was able to break just over the 10K mark is what it is as a unopposed district there is what it is. Then District 26, you have this Asheville, who I believe is a brand new person, get just over 12,000 votes. There's what it is. Tom Brinkman, who used to be a state rep here, got just under 2,900 votes. That's what it is. Hopefully this will actually flip as well and be a Republican seat come the general election. Who the hell knows, though? Just all depends. Continuing on down the line, though, you had another Moms Demand Action turned state rep, Rachel Baker, get just over 10K votes there. The Republican in the race for that, primary, got 1 vote shy of 6,000 votes that it is there. So hopefully, again, this could actually equate to, you know, a couple million more people showing up there is what it is for the votes and stuff. And maybe, you know, let's say another 30,000 people vote for her is what it is in the general election, and Rachel Baker's piece of shit anti-gunner ass can finally get kicked the fuck out of office is what it is there. So, same thing needs to happen in District 28. Karen Brownlee is another one of these MDA bitches is what it is shouldn't be in power because they're literally anti-gun sacks of shit is what it is there, dude. Bought and paid by Bloomberg's dark money is what it is from out-of-state funding. She didn't even break 10,000 vote. She got 9,800 and some change. Jill Cole for the Republican side of the primary got 5,300 something votes is what it is. So, District 29, Cindy Abrams, who I know is an anti-gunner. Rhino, because I believe it's her. I want to say it's her committee right now that all the Pro-2A legislation is being put into by Matt Huffman. She barely squeaked it out in this one. If you actually just go by these numbers right here, dude, this is one of the few districts that actually could legitimately flip to Democrat. That's what it is, because she only got 6,627 votes in this primary, where this Jonathan guy on the Democrat side got 6,503 votes. So you're talking about 124 vote difference between the two of them. There's what it is. So yeah, that could easily flip the other side of what it is there. So continuing on, unfortunately, you had Stephanie Stock lose her primary yesterday in District 31 to literal Huffman-backed piece of shit Mike Cahoe, who is a known anti-gunner. He refused to even, I believe he refused to even do the Ohio Gunner survey is what it was, and then he was proven to be accepting money from anti-gun groups is what it is there. So, yeah, District 31. Honestly, this is like just knowing that Cahoe is a fucking rhino sack of shit is what it is, dude. I would actually say just let the Democrats take that district right now, dude. Because who's to say that this Jay Noah guy is not going to be an actual, like, dude running as a Democrat, but then he actually turns out to be, like, super pro-2A is what it is or something. Because I can see somebody doing that shit, dude, where they just, like, run as a Democrat thinking they can win the district or whatever it is there. Because it has gone, like, so blue or whatever, and they just, like, a lot of people's faces or whatever to get in power, and then they're just like, oh, it turns out I'm actually a super, super pro-2A Bill of Rights guy is what it is there. So, anyway, moving on down the line to races that actually matter again. Again, you got more Democrats that are sitting state reps right now. Couldn't even break 10K mark, just barely missed it in District 33 and District 34. There's what it is. District 35. This was actually a really close race between this Samantha and this Molly woman. It was like 500 something votes between the two of them. But you got Samantha take it by 5,900 and some change. There's what it is. So, yeah, Vic will definitely. If Vic is going to win this district at all, he's going to have a bunch of people come out in the general election and then go down. There's what it is, dude, and get stuff done for him. So far of all these state house races, this is actually the closest primary. Here's what it is between these two Democrats, Tom and Phil, because it was less than 200 votes between the two of them. It was 196 votes between the two of these guys, which I'm not so sure that wouldn't trigger an automatic recount then, because I think, like I said, it's either 500 or 1,000 vote difference in different races has to trigger like an automatic recount of what it is there. And yeah, if you have less than 200 votes between the two of you, like, pretty sure that's going to be some hand recount stuff right there is what it is, dude. So, but anyways, going back to state house seats that shouldn't exist, District 38 is a perfect example of that, where you had no other primaries except Democrat. Let's see where we're at now. Oh yeah, so going to Rhino incumbents. Rodney Creech was able to just squeak it out with 6,700 compared to 4,700 and some change in District 40, which kind of sucks. I would have liked to see this J. Todd Smith actually beat him on that one. But unfortunately, that was not the case there. Erica White, who is the actual incumbent Democrat in her own district, had to be a writing candidate yesterday and was able to get 1,900 and some votes. There's what it is. It's just funny and sad at the same time. You would think, too, like, how is that not, like, seriously, you were the incumbent person in that state house seat. How the fuck do you not have your shit together and gather 50 party votes and submit that submit that paperwork immediately when you can? Like, it's just silly, dude. Like, if that's me, like, that's the first thing I'm doing. I'm going to be like, hey, like, how long do I have to do before I can resubmit this paperwork for next election cycle, whatever the case be, and be like, okay, cool, and then just have that written down on the thing right there is what it is. And then just go around, like, a couple weeks before that and be like, hey, everybody, y'all want to put your signatures on this ballot for me is what it is, so I can get back on the thing for the next election cycle. And then just go to, like host some party, whatever the case be, a couple hundred people is what it is there, dude, and they're all eligible party people is what it is there, and you can just have them all write down their names and information to be your constituents to get you back on the ballot is what it is then. So, yeah, to me what that says is she doesn't really give a shit about being a state rep and had to take an extra step to become a writing candidate, which is pathetic is what it is. So hopefully that, I'm really hoping that equates to this Ann Chamberlain guy being able to just flip that district to Republican come the fall is what it is then. But anyways. Moving on, we had another piece of shit Democrat, paper by Bloomberg and Michelle Grimm. This was the fucking cunt who tried to use, what was it now? It was the Covenant school shooting a few years back now to try to push anti-gun shit here in Ohio. Like, that'll, and that's what I'm saying when it comes to automatic qualifications on every seat of power in this country, dude. Like, how is that not an auto DQ right there, dude? Like, when you're trying to literally use a preventable massacre in another state to push bullshit in this state. Like, fuck you, cunt. Also, fuck your Bloomberg paid backers and stuff like that, what it is there. You fucking Bloomberg bitch. So, anyways, moving on down the line. I was trying to find the 10K ones here. I think that was about it for Democrats right now. I think we're the Republican side of it is where they got 10Ks is what it is now. District 48, which is where I'm at right now, it actually broke over 10,000, but none of the four candidates in the race could even get 10,000. The highest one of them that actually won it was the only really known person in this race, which was Christina Hagan. They got 6,243 votes, including mine. The closest to her was this Ed dude, who is a local, I believe he is a city councilman for Alliance, and he is also a dentist, I believe is what it is. He was able to get 3,639 votes. This Sue woman who came in third, all three of these people, by the way, sent me multiple mailers. Here's what it is. You have Christina sending me at least 3 or 4 here. You got this Ed guy sending me 2 or 3, and you have this Sue woman sending me 2 or 3. Sue got 1,704 votes, and then Greg Wolf didn't send anything to anybody. Got 1,538 votes. So, pretty crazy stuff, man. District 49 should actually kind of scare people right now, just because of the voter turnout in this one. Now, granted, that being said, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe District 49 sits in the heart of Canton is what it is there. But Jim Thomas, who I believe will be running for a 3rd term right now, only got 5,838 votes yesterday. Meanwhile, the Democrat primary between 2 different people there, being this Krista Allison and Britt Steiner, was able to garner 8,172 votes, with Christina getting just over 5,000 votes. And the fact there was only roughly an 800 vote difference between her and the incumbent Republican is a scary situation there. That could easily flip back to Democrat right now. And the reason I say that is because this District 49 has been a Democrat stronghold for some years now, is what it is. It was only when people were so fed up with Thomas West for being a piece of shit, complete asswipe is what it is there, not doing his job as a state rep to fix his own congressional district is what it is there, because it's all a bunch of black youth in there that are career criminals that want to sit there and go to the Stark County Fair every single year and fuck it up is what it is for everybody else. But you know, it's little YN pieces of shit fighting each other and doing gang battles on the side of the county fairgrounds is what it is there. Just ridiculousness is what it is, dude. And that's exactly why Thomas West lost to Jim Thomas years ago, is what it is there. But like I said, if this is any indication of what the November ballot looks like, dude, this guy's going to lose, unfortunately. And it's going to go right back to Democrat bullshit is what it is there. So, anyway, District 50, where I used to live, Matthew Kishman, running unopposed, is able to get 8,587 votes compared to this Ryland moron who got 6,348 votes. I think Kishman's probably going to win this one outright just because that area is very rural and stuff like that, but it's also very hard red is what it is. So anyway, moving on down the line to a few other races here. You had District 53 Republican primary break over 10,000. Neither one of the people get 10,000. This Matt Lundy guy got 7,400 votes is what it is. So he'll become the nominee in November versus new dude, Bradley Lesko. If this is any indication, just based on vote records, though, it's probably going to go Democrats, my guess on that one, unfortunately. Moving on, District 54, Kelly Dieter, who's the incumbent, got just over 9,000 votes. She couldn't even break 10,000 record. There's what it is, which is kind of sad, but it is what it is. Going further down the line to District 55, this is our first Republican over 10,000 votes here, which was this C. Michelle Tescott. I believe this is a brand new person in our state house right now that's running for elections. I don't think she's even in the state house right now. I think this would be our first term, is what it is there. In District 55, there's what it is. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in that one. There's what it is then. But anyway, let's see. Going down the line. Yeah, District 57 with Jesse Stiles almost break 10,000 mark at 998.14. You had District 58 Democrat primary break over the 10,000 mark, but nobody was able to get over 6,000. The 6,000 went to this John guy, who will be the nominee there versus Heather Falk, who is a brand new candidate. So again, if this is any indication, 58 will swing Democrat, unfortunately. District 59, which is Tex Fisher's district. This is a guy I was talking to over a year ago about Pro-2A legislation and trying to do the stolen firearms reimbursement legislation. There's what it is. If you look at that one, that could easily swing Democrat come the fall, dude, because there was like not even 1,300 votes difference between these two people. So, yeah. Potentially could be a bad deal is what it is there. District 60, Brian Lorenz, who was the incumbent, got just under 7,800 votes. And the overall one was just under 11,000 on that one. This one I thought was pretty interesting. This is something that Chris Dorr and the other dude from Ohio Governors were talking about last night when they did a stream, which was you had Andrew Brenner, who was one of these chamber jumping pieces of shit from Matt Huffman. Brenner was termed out of the state Senate and was trying to run for the state house and lost handily to Sean Stevens. Unfortunately, because Andrew Brenner was such a piece of shit, he actually fucked over Beth Lear too, because Beth Lear originally was the one holding District 61. There's what it is. She basically tried to chamber jump with Brenner into the state Senate, and she ended up losing her state Senate race too. So, yeah, maybe don't run with rhinos is what it is, dude. And try to chamber jump and stuff like that halfway through your term of 8 years that you could do, and just stay in the state house is what it is, lady. So, you know, that was really on her on that one. But, yeah. So congratulations to Sean Stevens for being the new state rep in the near future. Getting almost 8,000 votes in this election cycle. Literally almost beat Brennan by 2,000 votes in that situation. So this one did bother me, though. District 62, because I did actually, when we did our thing of who we at the network were backing here, we were backing this Dylan guy. Where's that? Yeah, we're backing this Dylan Blevins guy because Gene Schmidt is just a piece of shit in general, dude. Unfortunately, she was able to beat him by almost 3,000 or just over 3,000 votes that it is there. So going on down the line, Adam Byrd was another Republican that was able to finally break the 10,000 K mark yesterday. Trying to see other people that were in this race now. District 66 was 2 brand new people. The Sean Hudson guy was able to get 8,100 votes and some change to take the nomination there. Hopefully he'll be a decent state rep. I'm not sure. I'll have to look at this guy a little more. I can't remember if he was actually one of the ones that was pro 2A or not, though. Because unfortunately there was some party line scumbags that were coming in that were basically just Huffman proxies that it is there. For the Columbus cartel establishment, there it is. So, anyway, Melanie Miller, who's an incumbent, almost broke 10K. She was literally just under 500 votes shy of that. Let's see. Kevin Miller. I want to say this is Miller's either 3rd or 4th term in the State House now, is what it would be. He was able to break just over 10K. District 70 with Brian Lempton, who is the current incumbent, was able to beat this Terry Free guy by I'm not sure if Terry Free is a guy or a girl, actually, but he was able to beat Terry by basically a 9-1 deficit almost. But still couldn't even break the 10K mark on that one. He took 9,000 votes instead of 10,000. District 71, Levi Dean, who was the incumbent, was able to break that 10K mark as the solo person on the race is there. Let's see where we got now. Jeff LeRae, who is a incumbent, just shy of that 10,000 mark. He was 106 votes shy of that right now. So let's see where we're at now. Marilyn John, who I believe this woman was, I'm surprised she's still in office right now, actually, because I believe she was the solo rhino back during lockdowns, where she actually voted to allow DeWine to keep his emergency power use during the 440 days of tyranny for COVID lockdowns. But yeah, this bitch was able to break almost 13,000, what it is then. She got 12,765 votes. So I'm assuming that'll stay hard right on that one, unfortunately. Matt Huffman couldn't even break 9,000 himself, though, in his district, the 78. He was able to get 8945. So Monica Robb Bestel did the same. She got 8,932 votes in her district. Jonathan Newman, who I don't remember if this guy's a new dude or if he's been a state rep for like 1 term or something, maybe. He was able to break the 10K mark with 10,807 votes. District 81 Republican primary broke over 10,000 votes. Unfortunately, neither one of the people in it was able to break that record. This Patty woman ended up getting 9,220 votes. So I can't remember if she is a Huffman proxy or if she was actually a pro 2A, unfortunately. Her name doesn't really sound familiar, though. Current state rep, who I believe this will be his 4th term, this Roy guy, got 14,000 some change votes there in 82. So, and it's interesting because both of the people that were for the other 2 parties, being Democrat, Libertarian, respectively, the Libertarian guy who was actually on the ballot got 98 votes. The write-in Republican got just over 250 votes, 268. So, pretty crazy shit there, man, for real. Going down the line there. District 83, Ty Matthews, who I believe was either a 2nd or a 3rd term now. He was able to get over the 10,000 vote mark. He got 11,902 votes. So, dude almost broke the 12K mark, actually. Angie King, who is a incumbent, was able to get 10,533 votes. Tim Barhos was able to get over 11,000 votes in District 85. This is the 85 was a district that used to be Anita Vitale was in there for, I believe, all 8 years, and his wife tried to run, and she ended up losing to Barhos last general election is what it was then in 2024. Moving on down to actual primaries here, we got District 6. This one kind of bothers me a bit because I don't remember if this Ben Weber guy was pro Toy or not, and he ended up winning. I was really hoping this Wyland Davis woman would take it. Unfortunately, she took second at 3,761 votes. And then I want to say it was Stephen Wolf was the one that wouldn't respond to High Gunner's surveys when it is then. That could be wrong. It might have been Ben Weber. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I can't remember if it was Weber or if it was Davis that were the two. Like I know two of the three of these people had gotten the AQ rating from High Gunner's survey, and then the third person, which I think was this Wolf guy, didn't sign on to it at all as it was. But I could be wrong. It might have been Weber that didn't sign on to it at all. I'd have to go back and watch the Freedom Pride I did like a month ago now is what it was, I think, give or take. Where I was endorsing people, then is what it was. Because I believe I said it was these two people that was like, doesn't matter which one wins because they're both pro-2A basically. So if that be the case, hopefully I was right about it being Weber then. But yeah, either way, I'll be looking into that again and checking and seeing if dude is pro 2A, and then we'll talk about it more on Freedom Friday. That's what it is, and we'll be discussing some stuff, and I'll see if I can find some contact information for this man and try to set up some stuff with him. Is what it is then, as a incumbent candidate potentially is what it is there. To be like, hey, dude, so here's the deal. Like, when you win, would you be cool and submit this legislation? Is what it is, and just discuss with him about the Firearms Reimbursement Act is what it is then. But anyway, I forget what I called it off. It was something like that, but it was like maybe firearms compensation reimbursement, something like that. What it is there. But basically, it's about stolen firearms not being found, and then being able to submit claims to the state and get your money back that way. And then if the gun ever is recovered, it becomes state property. Is what it is then. Then it can either be sold or destroyed, whichever. Well, sorry, it can't be destroyed. It can either be sold or it can be used by departments for ballistic stuff or something. That's what it is, as like comparisons and stuff. So anyway, moving on. Jeff McLean, who is an incumbent, was able to get over 10,000 there. Unfortunately, District 88, Gary Click, who, like I said, is a Matt Huffman proxy, was able to just squeak it out against Eric Watson by roughly 640 votes, which sucks. I'll tell you what, if I was in Eric Watson's spot right now, I would definitely contest that fucking race though, just because it is that close. Like I'd demand a hand recount on this one, bro. So, which I'm not sure if that would trigger 1,000 or if it's 500 that has to trigger it then automatically. But either way, it sucks. And like I said, I'd definitely contest that race for sure if I was that dude. Going further down the line there, Justin Pesley, I think is pronounced the guy's last name. This dude was an appointed state rep several years back. Now is what it is. I believe this would be his third or fourth term in office now. He barely missed the 10K mark. There's what it is. With 9,964 votes, he was 36 shy of the 10K mark. Let's see, going further down the line. Yeah, Jason Stevens unfortunately won that primary against Larry Kidd. Jason was able to take 7,210 votes there of the 11,513 that were in the race. There's what it is. District 94 was a 10K win, with Kevin Ritter getting 10,072 votes as an unopposed person. And then District 97, or not 97, District 96, which was the Republican primary between Ron Ferguson, who's the incumbent, and Frank Hoagland, who was a chamber jumper from the state Senate. Thankfully, Ferguson took it out with 7,000 votes and some change. Hoagland was I believe he was the one that got an F rating recently with Ohio Gunners because of his ties to both Matt Huffman's anti-gunner bullshit, and also specifically, I believe he was taking money from Sandy Hook Promise, just like Andrew Berner was. So, anyway. And then finally, the last couple, District 98 almost got 10K votes. This Mark Heiner guy got 9,344. And then the last one that actually did get 10,000K votes was 99, was Sarah Fowler Arthur. I believe she was, I want to say she's a third termer now is what it is with this win. But yeah, she got 10,612 votes in this race is what it is. And the primary against her only had 6,292 in it. So hopefully that means she'll remain in office another term is what it is. She's been pretty good. She was the one that came in, I believe it was 2022 midterms is the first time that she ran. I believe that's what it was. But yeah, she was a homeschooled kid that basically was trying to run on some stuff. And District 99 before that was actually very hard to left. And she was able to flip it for the first time in like, I forget if it was like 25 or 30 something years so it is there. So, and it's remained hard red since that's what it is now. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there, what it is. But yeah, she's done some pretty good legislation here and there, and she wasn't one of the people that was like at the forefront to push pro-trade legislation, but she was definitely a party line vote in there. Is like, yes, I will vote for this as long as it gets through, basically. And be like, I believe she was one of the people that was like, hey, like if you guys need a co-sponsor or whatever on this, like she would be the co-sponsor people, so it is then. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens at the state house. That's what it is. I think it'll pretty much stay roughly about what it is right now, give or take. Come the fall, it just unfortunately is a matter of time to see what happens to the rest of the race. There's what it is, and like I said, I think honestly at this point, there's just so much corruption across the board right now in both major parties. It just needs to be completely abolished anyway, is what it is. So basically what I'm going to try to do here in the coming days with the rest of the folks here at the network, and then hopefully getting other people involved as well too for that matter, is I'm going to try to get the legislation stuff put together to figure out what needs to be done to actually trigger an Article 1, Section 2 against the entire state against the entire state political structure right now is what it is. And just do a complete abolishment of state government is what it is then, and see if we can get that. See if it can either be done as a just straight up referendum of some kind through just we the people doing stuff, or it has to be an actual ballot issue come the fall or something like that. What it is there, and see how quickly we can get that on the thing. Meanwhile, at the same time, I also want to look into the potentiality of disqualifying candidates is what it is there, because neither Acton nor Havoc should be in this governor's race at all is what it is there. And neither one of them has any right to be in there at all because of the crimes they've committed in the past 6 years that are still under the statute of limitations right now that could be prosecuted. And that is on you, Dave Yost, as AG, and that is on every single state DA right now to do that shit, to try these motherfuckers is what it is there, and arrest them the hell out of office. And I'm talking to every single one of you 88 county sheriffs out there. Sorry, 87 county sheriffs, because we all know that you're fucking piece of shit, Bloomberg ass, Charmaine McGuffey in Cincinnati is not going to do your fucking job down there, bitch, in Hamilton County. So, yeah, to the other 87 out there, though, do your fucking job and arrest these sacks of shit the fuck out of this race is what it is, and charge them with conscious community is what it is, bro. Everything else you can get them on, whether it be embezzlement, whether it be misuse of campaign funds, etc., there's what it is, doesn't matter. Throw everything against the fucking wall and see what sticks. And get Ramaswamy and Amy Acton the hell out of this fucking race is what it is, dude. And if worse comes to worse, we hold a brand new special election come August is what it is, and then we'll bring the people in, that's what it'll be for this governor's race. So, anyway. On that note, that's about what we'll be at for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I will be back on Friday for Freedom Friday. Unfortunately, Hunter didn't do a chat last night. Otherwise, I would have gone off on this whole thing during that chat, which did piss me off because I could have easily taken I was sleeping in my bed last night, and I was actually in a pretty comfortable position for the first time ever, is what it is, and I was able to. Unfortunately, I was like, oh, okay, it's like after 10 or pretty close to 10 now, whatever the case, but let's get up and see if Hunt was doing a chat then. And of course, I got up and he wasn't doing a chat then, so. And then I stayed up for several hours and got some news what it was then. So, but yeah, basically just before I did this chat today, I ended up eating then. So it wasn't all stomach rumbly, and yeah, it was pretty good meal. I did the rest of the eggs I had in my fridge up in the skillet there, which I like the way I do them, obviously, because they come out. Unfortunately, you know when you cook your eggs yourself is what it is, and you know how you like them, your preference what it is there, versus other people do them, and it's like, nah, dude, like, if I'm going to get, like, if I go someplace, I'm not going to order, like, scrambled eggs or whatever the case, because they never cook them to my specifications what it is there, whereas my specification is, hey, once they get brown on the one side, flip them, and then let them get brown on the other side, and they taste really good that way, because they have like a nice like, little crunch to them is what it is there, and they're also, like, together is like almost like an omelet kind of deal is what it is. And then you throw a little bit of ketchup on, dude, and they're fucking perfect. A little bit of ketchup, a little bit of salt, and they're perfect after that, though. So that's what I ended up doing there about an hour or so ago. And made that up, and then I had made some Johnsonville brats on Tuesday night in the air fryer, and I ended up taking those out, cutting those up that I had left over, threw them in the skillet, and oh my god, bro, those come out so, like, if you cook them in the skillet, basically you do the eggs first, obviously, and when the skillet is still nice and hot there is when you throw the little pieces there is what it is in, so it's basically coins essentially that you're cutting up into, and cook them for a couple minutes on each side there, and they come off really nice and browned on the pieces, and oh my god, they're so good, bro. I'm sure the carcinogens and stuff like that are not good for my health. I guarantee that one. But it's such a good meal, dude. So yeah, got some scrambled eggs and some brat pieces is what it is there. Some bratwurst coins, I guess is what I call them, honestly. But yeah, super, super good, man. Unfortunately, today I'm not sure if it was because I know in the past I'd use the Walmart brand ones, and they seem to be pretty good. So I'm not sure if it was something maybe where I had, when I threw them in the bag the other day and threw them in the fridge, if I threw them in too hot maybe, where I should have let them sit out for another like 10 minutes or whatever and kind of cool down a little bit before I threw them in the bag then. Because I think what happened maybe was there was too much heat still in the actual casings and stuff like that when I tossed them in there and then threw them in a plastic baggie, and then it got too much moisture and stuff in it there or whatever for the last day or so. Because when I cut them up and throw them in the skillet there, they were popping really badly is what it is. I'm not sure if that was just excess moisture that was coming out of them or what it was, but it was like making some popping stuff. And I know I got some like grease, like cracklings on my hands and wrist area and stuff like that, which is not good. Thankfully it didn't do like super burns, but it was just like a little bit of like, just that like teeny like little specks of like splatter basic that got hit and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's what it is. So anyway, yeah, that'll be it for today. I'll be back, like I said, on Friday for Freedom Friday. We'll discuss more about Tuesday's primary here as what it is then, specifically about people like Ben Weber, because I'm going to go double check to make sure that that dude actually was pro toy or not then, and we'll discuss about various things that could be done here is what it is. If worse comes to worse, what we could do if something does happen where we can't actually get the abolishment stuff on the ballot is what it is there and get that through is what it is, then what we could basically do is it could be a situation where you just you don't let Democrats take the governorship, you just vote Ramaswamy and then just immediately have paperwork ready on that one to basically just be like, nope, this guy is not qualified for this position, et cetera there. And you remove him from office. And what we do at the same time, by the way, so this is basically a multi-fold thing at this point, obviously with this one, is you would have to remove him. You would have to remove Rob McCauley, who is just as much of a rhino sack of shit at this point. And you would have to basically have a new person in the Senate speaker's role, there's what it is, for the Senate president. So you would have to have a non-rhino in that position, because then you basically take out governor, lieutenant governor, and like one fail swoop of like, disqualification, essentially what it is there. And then you would have the Senate president take over as the sitting governor for the next 4 years, as it is then. So, and if worse comes to worse on that one, and you couldn't, and that person was just as much of a fucking rhino as the other two are or whatever, then you go down the line even further, and you have to go to Speaker of the House, which, as long as it's not Matt Huffman, if it's somebody else, then that person would be good. But then if you have to go further down than that, you go to like treasurer, auditor, and stuff like that's what it is, and Secretary of State and everything else like that there, and the gubernatorial congressional line. If it gets to that point, by the way, we just have to have a new fucking race at that point entirely, bro. So I've talked about this before, obviously. But yeah, I think honestly at that point it'd be more incumbent to just do the whole, abolishment of state government right now and start fresh with brand new non-corrupt people that are not taking a bunch of kickbacks and fucking everything else like that for that matter, and bribes and everything else across the board. That's what it is. So, because there's no way that this state can handle 4 years of Vivek or 4 years of action right now is what it is, dude. Because you're either going to get 4 years of H-1B importation bullshit and complete takeovers of the state by fucking third world trash, and I'll be goddamned if that doesn't lead to a fucking civil war in the state. That's what it is within the first like month or two. And if it's acting being in power, then it means nothing gets done. It means you'd have to have such a super majority in the state house and state senate to override any veto that she put through. Stuff is what it is there, dude. And it would just be a complete clusterfuck, where she would have to be removed by impeachment is what it is then. And the same thing with David Pepper, who I want to point something out too for that many people don't know this what it is. Acton's Lieutenant Governor David Pepper was the ex-speaker of the DNC here in Ohio. The dude is literally a heir to, I believe it is the which one of the fortunes is it now? Shit. I know it's like one of those giant corporation ones. I'm trying to remember which one it is now. It's not DuPont. It's one of those other kind of heirs like that, though, is what it is. Heinz, maybe? No, it wouldn't be Heinz. It's something similar to that, though. I forget exactly what it is. It's not Johnson & Johnson. I don't know. He's a big ass heir. He has billions of dollars behind him. What it is, dude. He's basically white Vivek, essentially. You might as well say. Except in that case, he would be a like more of a Walton heir, is what it is. Bloomberg puppet is what it is there. So, or sorry, not Bloomberg puppet, Bilderberg puppet person is what it is then. So, just globalist sack of shit in general is what it would be then. So yeah, no way we can let these motherfuckers in there. Is what it is, dude. You have to have complete impeachment of both those people. Is what it is then. So anyway, but yeah, this state, we have to do something to stop either one of these jackasses from getting in, because there's no way Ohio can survive 4 years of Acton or Ramaswamy when both of them should be in prison right now for literally killing anywhere from tens of thousands to up to 1 million people in this state is what it is, through their various actions, from abortion clinics as businesses to literally pushing death jabs on people, etc. There's what it is, dude. So yeah, we can't let mass murdering genocidal maniacs be in any position of power, especially not the highest seat in a state is what it is. So anyways, that being said, that's where we're at for the day. I will be, like I said, I'll be back on Friday for Freedom Friday. I got some stuff to do in the early afternoon. I got to go to the chiropractor and stuff like that, obviously, that day. So it'll be probably, when I do the Freedom Friday, it'll be probably 5 or 6 that night, honestly. So roughly around right now is when we'll probably do it, is what it'll be. So, but yeah, my plan right now is I'm going to go, I got a few things I got to do. I'm going to make up a list here pretty soon. Because I got to go to chiropractor. I plan on going to the gun shop and getting a couple more lowers for the AR uppers I have right now that don't have lowers on them. And then you get an armorer's wrench too on that one, because I realized that all the ones I have right now, for some retarded ass reason, I don't know what the fuck China's problem is right now, dude. Like, I don't know if they're just using out of spec stuff or they're purposefully making them out of spec is what it is. But yeah, every single one that you can buy on Amazon there that I bought, and even I bought ones through like Team Tattoo on the Pass and stuff like that, that I didn't realize were made in China. But like every single armorer's wrench I bought in the past, whether it be through Amazon, whether it be through Team, whatever the case be, anything that comes out of China is just complete garbage. Like, it's not in spec at all. Like, you'll go to put it on the castle nut, there's what it is, and you will have, it's like about maybe this much, about that much space in between. It's like anywhere from like a millimeter to like 3 millimeters of space off of what it needs to be, because it needs to be locking into place perfectly. And it's like just like that much extra space in it there, where it, like, you can see if, like, basically if what would happen is if you could take the actual wrench itself and have like either a grinder or something similar to that matter, and just like touch it to a grinder as it's going, just be like 2 times or whatever. Like, it would probably take off like just enough material at that point to make it in spec, but unfortunately it's not in spec, and I don't have the grinders and stuff like that to do that kind of stuff, is what it is there. So, and plus I wouldn't trust my thing or whatever. But yeah, at that point you almost need a CNC machine to put it in there and just do like the precise cutoff is what it is there. But yeah, it's like there's just enough extra material there where it will never fit into a castle nut properly is what it is there. So it's just slightly out of spec is what it is then. So yeah, I'm gonna go over to when I'm at the gun shop then. They have a couple different armorer's wrenches that they sell over there, so I'm gonna pick one of those up and see if it doesn't fit the castle nuts is what it is there. If it doesn't, I'll take it back in a couple weeks then. But yeah, it's just a pain in the ass either way to have to go and buy like a third or fourth wrench now is what it is. When I've already bought like, I think it's like 3 of them already at this point is what it is. Because it's like, bro, all I need is a freaking basically castle nut wrench that works and isn't spec. But all these ones I have are a lot of spec is what it is by just a teeny little bit, because of fucking China is what it is they're making them. So yeah, it just sucks. But anyway, but yeah, on that note, that's pretty much where I'll be doing that stuff. I'll be going to the chiropractor, going to the shop to get some lowers for the new uppers and stuff like that. And then most likely I'll be going to the store after that fact, because I'm gonna most likely do a pickup order from Wally World after the fact. It'll be then on the way back, and then I'm thinking it'll be at least 4 to 5 then if that be the case by the time I get back here. So by the time everything's put away and done up and everything like that, it'll probably be at least 5:30, 6 o'clock then by the time I'm able to get out here and do stuff then. So like I said, just I would say shoot for that time freaking Friday is what it is there, about 5 to 6, somewhere in there. So if I can do it a little bit earlier, I will do a little bit earlier. Unfortunately, it's just a matter of time. It depends on exactly how things go and what things look like is what it is there. So anyway, but yeah, it is what it is, man. So, but like I said, I'll be back for some stuff, and we will do what needs to be done then. After that, we'll discuss some various things that it is then. Hopefully next Tuesday we'll actually have a Gay Frog chat with E Honda and friends. So, yeah, I will say though, I really do like this USA hat I got from Amazon the other day, man. So, which I do apologize for not doing the last couple of Slicey Boy Saturdays. Unfortunately, it's just become a situation where if it's quiet like it is right now, I'll usually be napping. And unfortunately, my body has just been to the point right now where it's just like, hey, if it passes out for several hours, it passes out for several hours, and it's whatever. So, but I end up getting a new Flessa knife. I'm actually pissed at Flessa right now for the last knife that I was supposed to get from them then. I ended up buying 2 blades from them a couple weeks ago there, and the stuff came in the other day, and what was supposed to be a knife, a folding knife from them, was from an entire different company called Genji, and it was a freaking weird like P38 style can opener thing that was on like a big ass thing that was also a bottle opener. And I'm like, this is not what I ordered, people. Like, why the hell are you sending me these things? Like, give me my fucking knife, and I'll send you this shit back. So they ended up getting this one here a couple hours ago, and this is how it came in the box. It didn't come with any plastic around it, but yeah, it's pretty nice though. This is probably the most interesting one I've had so far because of how they designed the sheath here. Because this is actually part of the knife that's hanging out right here is what it is. It's a rope cutter area that you can use, but it's actually having the knife in the actual sheath at the time. The only thing I don't like about this sheath is the way that this back is, because it's just a thin-ass piece of plastic. If I was going to carry this thing for any amount of time, what I would do is I would actually use the side thing here and put those right in between my belt loops is what it is then. And then probably have some paracord here and here and have that tied around my belt loop as well as what it is then. So, or sorry, I would put this through my belt is what it is there and carry it that way. And then have the paracord that would be tied around like a belt loop is what it is then. But yeah, this is pretty nice though. I do like I'm not sure if this is my card handle on this or what it is, but it feels really nice though what it is. And it's got a little like jimping ramp right there for your thumb. Very interesting design on it though. It is a 14C28N. So it's also got some weird little jimping right there on the under part of it too, which I think is kind of strange. Not really sure you'd put jimping right there, but it is what it is. But there's also a nice little jimping set right here. Feels very good in the hand. Definitely fits my hand very well too, for that matter. Reminds me of almost like a pirate knife, if you will, just the way it's like has that like weird like curve in the blade. There's what it is. So, but yeah, very, very nice in general. Do I have anything I could cut right now with this? That's not something I want to cut. Right there. I guess I could. Sorry, I'm looking for something I can actually slice right now. Oh, here we go. One of these. Get my little Amazon gift card thingies that came in. See how truly slicey this slicey boy is with a yeah, it's pretty slicey. Fortunately, this paper's a little bit thin. So do a double fold on that one, see if we can't get better. Yeah, it's pretty slicey, man. Oh yeah, there we go. Ooh, yeah, that's definitely slicing like a motherfucker. Yeah, it's definitely sharp for sure then. So that's how it should be, man. Nice and sharp, ready to roll out, dude. Like I said, I do like the way this handle is for sure. That shit fits my hand damn near perfect, honestly, dude. Feels so good in my hand too, for that matter. So this might become an EDC fixed blade for me, is what it is done. For when I walk around and stuff like that. Because I believe it's also small enough to fit in my pack as well too, for that matter. So the only issue I have with this thing is it doesn't really, yeah, the way that this sheath is, it doesn't really want to like pop in completely, what it seems like. It's difficult to, there it goes. Yeah, it's like difficult to pop back in there is what it is there. Like it needs to be just a teeny bit more give to what it is or something. But yeah, like I said, very nice. Feels very good in the hand for sure. So probably do a full review of that at some point in the future. Most likely when I go to the farm here a couple weekends from now, I'll take this with me as what it is and test it out down there a little bit, see about slicing through some stuff. Maybe I'll use it to cut some, like fillet some fish or something like that, what it is, dude, and see how good it is at that or something. But I don't really want to do that as what it is, because then it'll probably smell like fish guts and stuff like that then. So maybe I'll just do up some fire starting material or something like that is what it is with it then. So, but either way, that's about it for today though. I will be back, like I said, Freedom Friday in 2 days, probably around this time, maybe a little bit before, maybe around 5 or so. Just depends on how fast maybe we get stuff done and whatnot. So, but either way, I will see you guys then. Till later. Now is the time to get things rolling, and it's basically on all of us here in Ohio to work on potentially abolishing the state government through either a ballot issue or some other way to do it through Article 1, Section 2 of the state constitution, because no chance in hell should Ramaswamy or Acton be in power right now, nor should any of these other fucking assholes that are trying to do some musical chair chamber jump shit is what it is. So, yeah, now is the time to completely abolish current Rhino and Dem fuckery across the state of Ohio right now. It's all corrupt as shit. And start fresh with brand new people who are not bought and paid for by billionaire scumbags is what it is. So, anyway, till later. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. Always be caring, situationally aware, etc. Always be mentally prepared for the 4th of July potentially being a major attack in this country by Islamic terrorist sleeper cells. Are going to be activated most likely that day, because I would not be surprised to see that happen. And it's very disgusting to see how many people are currently in both state and federal power that don't even seem to care about these things, dude. Don't even seem to care about our country potentially being invaded and having terror attacks done on is what it is there, and doing anything to try and stop this stuff. Because again, if they actually did their fucking jobs and they removed the threats from this country, which is Islam entirely, you would actually be better off. If you removed all the fucking Somali terrorists that Agent Obama imported back in 2010s, we would be better off. If you deported all the fucking Haitians that piece of shit DeWine took in under Biden, we would be better off. That's what it is. Because we'd have way less fraud in this state is what it is then. If not, nothing else, we'd have almost no fraud in the state, honestly, from those fucking groups is what it is then. Because everyone's doing like 90% of what it is right now. So, not to mention they're the ones funding the terrorism in most cases with that fraud money. So, yeah. Now is the time to deal with this stuff before it actually happens, man. Because if it's not dealt with, I'm going to blame everybody, dude. And I'll start figuring out a way to do arrest reports on these fucking people, what it is then, dude. And just start filing arrest reports on these people for their inability to do shit is what it is then. Because they should be arrested out of office is what it is then. When you could have easily prevented this stuff right now, months before it would happen, and you're going to do nothing and just let it happen is what it is there. It's 100% your ass to blame is what it is then for you being in power doing nothing to stop it, man. So, anyway. But like I said, I'll be back a couple days from now for Freedom Friday. And then most likely we'll do an actual Slicey Boy Saturday come Saturday. I don't know if I'll do I might do multiple episodes that day, actually. We might just do like 20-minute episodes here and there, like 2 of them or something then to make up for the last few weeks now. So we'll probably do a fixed blade one, and then we'll do all the DC-53 folding knives that I have right now is what it is then, which I believe I have 3 different ones currently is what it is. So, anyway, and the fixed blade one, I'm not sure exactly what it'll be. It might be like 154 CM, it might be DC-53, it might be VG-10, it might be a bunch of other stuff too for that matter, who knows. I have something sitting down here right now I haven't even cracked the plastic on, so I'm not sure exactly what knife that is because that came in sometime in the past couple of weeks is what it is then, and I just didn't have a chance to open it as what it is then. So I'll probably open that off camera here in a couple of minutes and figure out what that is in there, and then maybe that'll become something for the upcoming Slice of War Saturday episode. That's what it'll be. So, anyway, till later. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. Always be carrying. Always situationally aware. Avoid large gatherings in July for the 4th of July because you never know if something's going to happen or not, dude. For all we know, there could be crazy truck attacks. For all we know, there could be crazy, weapons caches these people have, and they're going to do it that way. Nobody wants to see some Australia kind of stuff. Nobody wants to see some UK kind of stuff on U.S. soil. But the way things are going anymore, I would not be surprised. And at least we saw a bunch of it happen there is what it is. So I would say, honestly, situational awareness is key, man. If you see anybody that looks suspicious, figure out how to deal with that shit. If you think they're about to be a threat to you, if you believe your life is in danger, stand your ground, man, is what it is. If you think they're a threat, but they're not like actually doing anything, I would say still, be like, hey, hello, police, like something crazy is going on here. I'm pretty sure this person might do some stuff. So, and if you're wrong, you're wrong. But if the motherfucker looks suspicious as shit and is doing some shady shit or whatever the case be, dude, maybe deal with it what it does then. So, but anyway, till later. I'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all have a good rest of your Wednesday. If Nightmare Hunters podcast does one of their casts, then I'll probably be listening to that in about an hour and a half, give or take. If they don't, I'll probably call it an early night. That's what it is, and just nod off in the chair here for a few hours when it is done. So, and then most likely tomorrow I'll be doing some stuff because I got doing some laundry and stuff. I finally got in some new shorts yesterday. From King Size. I ordered that stuff there is what it is. And those finally came in, so now I have those to wash up and whatnot. Those should be pretty nice. I'm going to try to change out my current shorts I have right now because the ones I have currently are not quite as big, and they're also, I don't know when I bought those ones, they have like weird pockets in the bottom is what it is there that I don't like. Whereas these other ones that are different cargo shorts and stuff like that look like they're better and stuff like that and could easily be better to be carrying in and stuff like that's what it is there. So, and just have like an extra pocket for different things that I can have my my fire starter with me is what it is then, and a bunch of other things as well for that matter, and not have them be all bunched up together and have fun in different spots what it is then too. So anyway. Till later. I will see you guys in the next one. And be back for Freedom Friday. Later, y'all. Peace out.